Ferrari stretch lead over Red Bull. Williams remortgage garage for Latifi. And Aston Martin. Welcome to the Late Night Race Review.
It's Monday, the 11th of April. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Jericho, and with me, as always, is the F1 Lavender Cowboy, Mr. Owen Scott. If you like your Formula One news and reviews a day late, and with the excitement of bingo night at the nursing home, then you've come to the right place. Scotty, have you recovered from the early mornings? Did you catch up on your sleep over the weekend?
No, the sleep debt has not been repaid. I've had 12 coffees today, but I'm suitably perked up for today's podcast. How are you feeling? Have you recovered?
I struggled. Do you know, let's full disclosure here. I overslept on the alarm clock on Sunday morning, but yeah. I was awake for the free practice on Friday, Saturday. It's rough, and I know. Look, we're moaning here because this is not normal for European race watchers, but. You only have to look online and you see the Americans and the Australians or anyone out in Asia, and they're saying, oh, poor you, one race, you have to get up early. And you're like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it is only the one. And I have to admit that during qualifying, I also fell asleep. I woke up an hour early thinking that it was going to be starting at 6 and it was actually 7. And at one stage I drifted off and I woke up and Alonso was in the wall.
Yeah, the dedication from us there.
It was actually the crash that woke me up, so thankfully that happened, or else I would have missed the end of it as well. But no, it was grand. And then Sunday, I was more than ready. The alarm was set, and I was good to go. But the big talk over the weekend, or coming into the weekend's race, was DRS zones. That was the big one, and we started off with the 4 DRS zones, and I got peeled back to the 3 in the end. How do you think that affected the race? And what kind of chaos? How did that come about?
Do you know, I saw what they were trying to do. So we had a few changes. I mean, we had obviously a couple of turns were adjusted. We had the chicane, which would have been, I think, the old turn 9, turn 10, I think. That was removed, and we kind of, and that became a DRS zone. And I suppose the idea was sort of, you had 2 DRS zones sort of for, you had DRS zone for catching and then for overtaking. And I think, I'll be honest, I thought it was going to work. I was really excited about it. I thought, it was going to be no middle ground. It was either going to be a success or an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
And so I was excited to see, as an experiment, I was excited to see. And then after, I think it was free practice 2, wasn't it? I think then they decided to remove the one of the DRS zones because they were reaching speeds of about 320 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And they thought it was too dangerous. I saw Pat Simmons being interviewed about it, and he was kind of hinting. Now, I don't know whether I was picking up wrong on the conversation that was going on between, it was Pat Simmons and Simon Lazenby, or, one of these guys. And he was sort of saying, he was hinting at, it was only one driver that made the complaint that it was too fast. And then hinted at it was Fernando Alonso. Of course, Pat Simmons, in this sort of cheeky kind of, I couldn't be saying that now, but hint, it was Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, one driver complained. I saw then George Russell saying he couldn't understand why it was removed. And I saw a few, team bosses being interviewed saying they couldn't understand why it was being removed either. Yeah. And again, and in that conversation between Pat Simmons and Simon Lazenby, he also said he didn't understand why it was being removed. So it was removed. What we would have seen in the race different to what we got. It would have been nice to see anyway. It would have been nice to have had the chance to see whether it would have worked.
It's all in all, not to say that it was an uneventful race, but not a great deal happened once we got it underway and got by turn one. A few little things here and there, but the Charles Leclerc, a pretty easy evening for him, or
He
pretty
did.
easy weekend all in all.
Yeah, that Ferrari is just so powerful.
Mm.
And they didn't think it was going to be. They thought they were going to have issues. They didn't think the track was going to be suited to them.
Right.
Maybe that I don't know where that concern came from. Maybe it was something to do with the porpoising and stuff like that. Definitely the Ferrari and the Mercedes were by far the worst on that track for porpoising.
Yeah.
So, but that aside, Leclerc, I mean, it was the first Grand Slam for Ferrari since Alonso in Singapore in 2010. So
Yeah.
you're talking 12 years since that's been done. So, your win, pole, fastest lap, led every lap. That's great. And like the only mistake he made was on the restarts. Like that was literally the only blip he had. And I see a lot of people given, these websites that do the ratings for drivers, given the driver ratings, and they marked them down for that one little blip. And I was
Oh my
like,
God.
that's harsh. So they gave Albon and Leclerc the exact same rating. I was like, wow, that's a bit harsh. But
there's a spectrum between those two drivers that you're really missing out on there.
Yeah, huge. But fantastic qualifying, fantastic race. Didn't put a foot wrong. Just after each restart, just streaked away from everybody else. Took the win. Another bunch of points. Then sitting pretty on the top of both tables.
It's to me, reliability seems to be the thing that is obviously Red Bull are lacking at the moment, and Ferrari have in abundance. Bar a little blip in qualification for Sainz, but Ferrari's reliability is the thing.
Yeah, I mean like I said, it's solid all round, but I mean you have to also take into account that they've had a good head start on the rest of these teams in terms of the development of this car. So it's there's not so much learning on the fly that's happening with Ferrari that has to happen with a lot of the other teams. That being said, they're not without their they're not without their mistakes either, as we saw this weekend.
Yeah, his teammate Carlos Sainz having an absolute shocker. So the issue in qualifying, paired with that Alonso red flag, meant a P9 start and an absolute terrible start. He was on the hards, and I think he dropped 5 places straight off.
Yeah.
And then lap 2, we see him trying to get by, who was the car he was overtaking?
He went past Mick Schumacher, and I think he then tried to go past, well, I don't know whether he was attempting to go past Bottas as well, or he just got a little overeager and forgot to hit the brakes sooner. But he had...
Go on.
No, I was going to say, his problems started, you were saying it there, his problems started back in qualifying, and I think that set him up poorly for the weekend. So when that red flag came out, there was an issue with the starter on the car, so they got him out late, and he wasn't able to do the sort of the 2 warm-ups to prepare the car for the hot lap. So he was already on the back foot straight away from qualifying. There was he had a rough weekend, a combination of bad luck, not keeping a cool head.
That's what I was about to say. It really seemed as if just that pressure was mounting and mounting and mounting. There was an interview with him after qualifying, and he just seemed tense. And then going into the race, you could see just it was cooking away there, and
And he had other issues then going in. So so you were bringing over that issue from qualifying. So he was bulling because he's thinking, this wasn't my fault. I had the pace to be up there with Charles. I could have been battling for the pole, and what happened was out of his control, 100% out of his control. Then he gets to the race day. He gets to the grid, and just before the formation lap, there was an issue with the steering wheel. The team replaced the steering wheel for him. He was complaining about the positioning of the steering wheel being an issue, and then what happened is he initiated the anti-lag on the the anti-stall on the car twice, which then caused obviously what we saw, the bogging down on the off the start and losing 5 places on the straight out of the gate.
Okay.
So
I
again,
wasn't sure. Yeah.
You could take 50-50 on that, whether it's his fault or whether if there's an issue there that wasn't there before, positioning of the wheel, that's then causing him to hit the anti stall. Maybe he should be able to deal with that. But look, it's when something's second nature to you, and then all of a sudden it's foreign, it's easy to make a mistake. So so he's on the back foot with qualifying, he's on the back foot now with a steering wheel change, bogs down off the line, and he's down 5 places on the first couple of corners.
It's kind of like that, the FIFA controls when you turn them from, again, sorry to talk about soccer, but or football, not soccer, when you change the controls from that classic to alternate, it feels completely foreign in your hand, and everything is just it's not doable anymore. So I can understand where he's coming from, but do you think, looking back over the last 2 races, things haven't been going great from coming into this race weekend? Do you think he's that type of driver that all of this on his shoulders, he's going to need some sort of a big result to just take all of this weight off him, he can kind of see what's coming in the future with this Ferrari car?
And not just a second place, like he needs a win, and he needs a win over Leclerc. Like that recovery, or his attempted recovery that led to him spinning out in turn 10, that was a clear indication of someone who's panicking, not just because he had the poor qualifying, he had the poor start to the race, and he was over aggressive, wanted to gain those places back and get back up into the points and start hopefully pushing towards the podium. Had the car to do it in this race quite comfortably, he would have been up in the podiums, I think, quite easily, but got over aggressive on the hard tire that we know, the lower temperatures on the, preparing these tires, how long they take to get up to temperature. Goes in deep on turn 10 and ends up sort of overcooking it. So that is just that's a sign of not just how overeager he was to fix the mistake off the start, but also fixing the situation in Ferrari that Charles Leclerc is streaking away here, and he's in a Formula One sense, he's streaking away. Jesus. So he's streaking away though and it's going to be clear already at this stage of the season that Ferrari could be looking at this kind of going, we've got a number 1 driver here in Charles Leclerc and a number 2 driver in Carlos Sainz this season. And he doesn't want, so he needs the next race to win it or really bring it to Charles Leclerc, to sort of stall that train of thought in Ferrari garage.
Yeah, and what a better place to do it than in Italy. We're heading home for the Ferrari guys.
Yeah, no better place. That'd be a fantastic win for him. And he's able to do it. He's a fast driver. He's equally as fast as Charles Leclerc. I think just Leclerc has gotten to grips with this car a little bit sooner than Sainz has. And as Sainz was starting to get to grips with the car, he's just had a bit of a bad run of luck, accompanied with his overeagerness to correct that bad luck. And that's, he's sort of he's in this room now.
Yeah. He'll come good, I think, but he tends to not do well, feeling as if he's second fiddle. You could see that at McLaren as well. There was that pressure in the last season, where the 2 lads were kind of playing off each other a little bit. So, there's history there. And again, nothing major then for Red Bull, seemingly all weekend. Decent quali with P2, P3, Max and Checo. And then the race seemed to be kind of panning out that way as well until engine problems for Max.
Yeah, there's a couple of things with Red Bull. Yeah, I think they were never going. I don't think they were ever going to challenge Ferrari on this weekend, because I think Ferrari were just so far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah,
but I think they had issues with the tires, the tire management. Those mediums especially went off so fast for them, which possibly is an issue with the sort of the low downforce. They went with a slightly lower downforce setup, which possibly led to sort of an increase difficulty in the tire management. But that aside, they should have had a comfortable sort of P2, P3, and then another Red Bull powertrain failure.
Do we know the details of that yet, or they're waiting to get the car back before they can see exactly what happened, or is that clear yet?
It's not clear. I mean, it's clear in the sense that, I mean, it is possibly a fuel line issue, but as to why and where, I've harped on about it before, and I know even in the first podcast we were talking about this at the start of the season, that I was laying blame to a lot of issues on the E10 fuel, because like I said, and I'll try and truncate my rant here so I don't get sidetracked too much.
Okay.
But like, you have to remember, last year these Honda engines were great, and most of the team that worked on last year's engines are there. Even the Honda employees that were there last year are now part of Red Bull powertrain. So they're all there working on the same engine, with obviously the slight modifications required for this E10 fuel. So I don't see any other factor, any other variable here other than this E10 fuel, and whether it's corroding some steels or some sort of like O-rings or something like that within the fuel system or something like that, and is leading to these issues. I don't know. I mean, because some of these issues are different. Like, you had the fuel blockage, or sorry, the fuel vapors, sort of blocking the lines. And the last time they had the engine outage, so it's something they really have to overcome, because it's all well and good having the pace, but when you've got no reliability and hoping to God that your car is going to make it to the end of the race, they're going to have a long season if that doesn't get fixed quick.
And can I ask you, this E10 fuel, is there anyone else, any other Formula One teams using this?
So they all, so
it's
they all use,
it's everyone.
It's a change in it. So it's the 10% ethanol, and it's all about kind of moving to sustainable fuels and synthetic fuels and stuff like that. So, I mean, we will eventually, I think in 2026, you will see an increase. Like, this fuel is going to change more dramatically again by 2026 when you've got the new engine regulations coming in. So I think, so like, you've got other engine manufacturers who are still having issues, I find, with E10, not reliability to the degree that Red Bull powertrains are having. But I do think, like, again, Mercedes is one that I just feel like they had a fantastic engine last year. I know a lot of their issues can be aero related, but you have to look at the only sort of changing variable, which is the E10 fuel. So that's just my 2 cents. But I've kind of, I've been consistent. I've stuck with it since day one. E10 fuel, fuck off.
And is there anything to be said then for, I know it's Red Bull have taken over. I know it's still Honda, but do you think there's anything in there that Red Bull have kind of put their stamp on things this year? Is there, a drop in quality, or it's still really Honda making those parts, though, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's still manufactured by Honda. Then it's sent over to Red Bull powertrains for them to do the assembly. And I don't know how much of the external assembly is built by so I don't know whether Honda would say build the primary components of the engine, like the combustion engine and all that type of stuff, and then obviously some of the fuel pumps and things like that is a standard part that's issued to all teams. So I don't know whether Red Bull have, powertrains sort of have their own sort of intermediary, like fuel lines, all that type of stuff that obviously Honda have no part on, or have no part in developing. And it's these sort of small components is where there's a breakdown happening. So if that's the case, then that would make sense. But it's anyone's guess at the moment.
Yeah, so Checo then as well, he had a very good day. I mean, he's had, other than the DNF, obviously, in race number 1, his performances this season have been pretty consistent. He's
better than last year, I would say.
Yeah, he's right up there every week.
Mm-hmm.
And that he had a hell of a qualifying lap in Jeddah. We're seeing from Checo now what we really wanted to see from him last season.
That's right.
To try and push more and more. And obviously, if we can get these little reliability issues out of the way for Red Bull, they could have a great season this year.
Yeah. My only concern about Perez, especially from the Melbourne race, was that he only finished 5 seconds ahead of George Russell.
Yeah.
And when you consider that Red Bull is fast, and I know they had issues with the tire wear that did cause a lot of their pace difficulty. But I still looked at it and was like, and I know what we had 2 safety cars that sort of limited the gap, but I still think, I think Leclerc by the end of the race was 25 seconds, I think, ahead of Perez by the end of the race. 20 seconds. Sorry.
20 seconds,
so Charles Leclerc finished 20 seconds. And then between Red Bull and a horrific Mercedes, there was only 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have expected them to squeeze a little bit more, and I would have expected a bit more of a distance between those 2 cars.
Mm-hmm. Off the top of your head, do you know what lap that Verstappen safety car came out?
Ooh, good question. Was it 42?
I mean, what do we have then? 58 laps in total?
Yeah, so 16 laps.
So,
a second. Let's do the quick checkup. We should have countdown, the countdown theme.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
So we have, what's that? Quick math, 10, 15, 16, 17 laps for Checo to kind of take the position and then put a bit of space between him and Russell. 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think it was enough. I think he needed to be. Yeah, I would have expected to see a lot more of a gap than that.
Yeah. Speaking of those, the Mercedes, like while they don't have pace, they're in and around the points every week. They've finished. What are they? Second in the constructors. Russell is second in the drivers' championship. All in all, it's not looking too bad for Mercedes.
But through reliability, which is, I mean, it's no complaint. Obviously, you need, you need your car to be reliable. But it's purely through reliability is how they're in the position that they're in. So because I think if they probably still. I mean, they say that they're not as quick as the McLarens. I think that's nonsense. I think they're quicker than the McLarens.
Yeah.
So I do think they're the 3rd best team. So I think if Red Bull weren't having their issues, Sainz wasn't having his issues, I do think that Russell would be say 5th now, and Mercedes would be 3rd in the drivers' championship or the constructors' championship. Sorry.
Yeah. It's pretty ironic that it's safety cars that are propelling Mercedes to the heights in the championships when it was one that took it away last year. Very interesting.
It's interesting that they're, but again, like I said, the reliability is there for them. Like, it's just if they can just sort out that's like, again, I don't want to go every week we're talking about the same thing, but they're carrying that. But like Ferrari have that porpoising, but it's down the straights. So when they're coming into fast corners, they're not carrying that porpoising through lower speeds in lower speeds in faster corners, if that makes sense. Whereas Mercedes are. So they're carrying it down the straight, and then as they come into a faster corner, but they're obviously slowing down, they're still carrying that porpoising even as the speed is reducing, whereas Ferrari aren't. So they're losing a huge amount of time there, and then obviously with the engine issues that we touched on earlier, there's still loads to unlock from this car. I've no doubt they're going to solve this issue, and quicker than I think we're gonna think. I think they're going to turn up probably in the next 2-3 races, and we're really going to see some improvements in this car.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fault the driver lineup that they have. The two guys they're both hungry as hell. I personally think that Russell. I know I said it to you over the weekend. I saw a little bit of a passing of the mantle. Maybe I'm a noob, and I'm shooting myself in the foot here by saying this. And Hamilton is going to come back and put it in my face. Excuse any, and hopefully not literally, but they've got two great drivers, and if they can get that sorted out, as you say, if we can get those three teams up in and around 1, 2, 3, it's going to be a great season.
Yes, if we get 6-7 laps into the season, or 6-7 laps into the season, yeah, good man, Dave. If we get 6-7 races into the season, and we've got the Mercedes there or thereabouts, I think we're going to have some exciting racing. And don't count, early days, I know, but don't count Mercedes and stuff out of the drivers' and constructors championship just yet. And the reason I say that is because historically, certainly in the last 10 years or however long it's been, Ferrari have a very good track record of shitting the bed mid-season. Right. And you could very well see other teams develop very well, and then Ferrari making a mistake in their development or upgrades. Either an upgrade doesn't work, so they have to remove it, but other teams have upgrades that do work, and they're now starting to gain an advantage over Ferrari. There's more likelihood of that happening for Red Bull at this stage than there is for Mercedes. Yeah. But like I said, I hope it doesn't happen. I'd love to see Ferrari back winning the drivers and constructors championship again. Yeah. But they just have a knack of doing it in races, especially last season and the seasons before, and they have a knack of doing it as well when it comes overall with a race season.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep you on Mercedes just for a second. We'll talk a little bit about radio calls. There was two in particular that kind of stood out. There was the Hamilton, "You've put me in a difficult position" comment, and looking back on that, I think it appears that was regarding the engine overheating and him not being allowed to, not being allowed, but not being able to challenge Russell for P3. But the one I want to talk about a little bit is the radio call by Russell. Mm-hmm. Where he was asked to manage the tires. What exactly was that response?
Are you referring to when he had Perez behind him?
Yeah.
And they told him that if what did they say? They said something to the effect of, "If you're hurting your tires, let him by," something like that. And then Russell says I'd rather not, or do I have or something to that.
I don't want to hear this, I think, as well.
Oh, I don't want to hear that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And so a little bit of a lack of maturity possibly from Russell.
Yeah, look, I get it. He thought he was coming from Williams to a dominant Mercedes. I think he thought he was going to be up there winning races straight away. And he was ahead of a Red Bull. He just was like, right, I'm going to gun it as long as I can. And yeah, it was just inexperience and over-eagerness. He just needed to cool the jets and realize it ain't happening for you in this, stage of the season. Cool the jets, get the points, and you'll be grand. Because the worst thing was he tried to fight Perez for another number of laps, burnt up his tires, and then by the end of the race, just going back and back and back, and even worse, ended up having to come in for a pit stop to change tires. So look, in the end, Perez went past him anyway. I don't know whether he just didn't put up much of a fight, but Perez took him anyway. So that put that to bed. But
again, it was something that you've touched on a good bit as we've been talking about Mercedes this season. This is why you think that Lewis will finish ahead of Russell in the Drivers' Championship, is that experience, listening to the pit wall and being able to know when it's wise to push on and when it's wise to just sit back and listen. Yeah, and he doesn't seem to have that yet, Russell.
No, not yet. I think it's just because he came into it where he thought he was coming into a team that was going to dominate, and it hasn't panned out. So he's a little bit disheartened to find himself in the position that he's in at the moment. But that being said, I do think then for Lewis Hamilton in the same position, I think he can race a lot harder and save tires a lot better. I think he's probably one of the best on the grid at doing that, at pushing relatively hard on track, on race pace, and still saving tires. I think he's fantastic at that. So yeah, I think overall I would be absolutely stunned if Russell finished ahead of Hamilton this year.
Right. Okay. We'll have to put a bet on that one at some stage just to.
I'll throw a bet on now. £5.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take
Fiver that Hamilton finishes above Russell.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll take that. We don't condone betting, obviously. It's something that but we will do it live on a podcast.
Bet responsibly. When the fun stops, stop. We should say that about this podcast.
Yeah. Don't. The people will turn it off after about 10 minutes.
It's kind of right, yeah. Fun stop. I'm out of here.
So going back down the grid a little bit in terms of finished positions, McLaren doing a lot better this week than they had in previous weeks. A little bit better than expected. Possibly starting to turn the performance of the car around a little bit. But we did have Lando on a Sky interview afterwards saying that it was back to earth. Yeah, it was more. It was more about track specific than opposed to anything that had actually improved on the car. This is the same car that has been at the last two races, and there's been nothing that has been added to it really.
Yeah, they brought one minor upgrade. I think it was something to do with a rear winglet or something like that. That was just for airflow, right. For directing airflow or flow conditioning or something to that effect.
New plow for the back of the tractor.
Exactly. Outlaying some spuds ready for Imola. But that's it. They only brought that, so I think it was track. A lot of it was track specific for this weekend. As much as it would be nice to think that they have made that massive jump from what we saw in Jeddah to what we saw in Melbourne, there's no way that happened on one little winglet. So I think it was very much track specific. Whether I think if we start seeing another two races, or certainly even in Imola, we'll see how they hold up in Imola, and we'll know have they made a little bit of a gain or not.
Okay, let's move on to Alpine. We'll take a look at Alonso and Ocon. Now we had a blistering qualifying time from Alonso. It was there almost.
I think it, but now I don't want to get overexcited because I do think it was a phenomenal lap, but I think it was going to be I think it would have been second row of the grid. Right. I think he would have got, because I think then Leclerc then put in an absolute stellar lap, which I think would have been better than what Alonso was on at the time. So, but still, an Alpine on second row of the grids, that would have been phenomenal. And he probably would have had, because he would have changed his race strategy. So I think realistically, he could have got on the podium.
Yeah.
I mean, that Alpine should have been able to battle it with the Mercedes this weekend, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it should have been up there. I mean, Danny Ricciardo must be kind of looking over his shoulder going, I probably shouldn't have left Renault now.
The team bouncing Ricciardo.
Yeah. But yeah, like again, a little bit of bad luck. He started off on the hard tires, Alonso, and then it was a safety car that kind of dropped. Well, it was the pit stop after the safety car that dropped him back down the grid then.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, I think they I'd say they're looking back kind of going, why didn't we do what the Williams did?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether their tires were going off maybe quicker, but they should have just kept holding out for that safety car, towards the end of the race, and keeping track position, because they'd nothing else to lose. It was, again, I didn't catch any radio calls from Alonso regarding tires, where they were going off, whether he was having issues or anything like that. Yeah. So maybe that might have been a factor. Maybe they were a little harder on the tires. Yeah. But it's a shame. If he had got that lap in, he would have started on the medium compound like everybody else. Assuming he got a good start, he would have. I'm pretty sure he would have been battling with those Mercedes for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's exciting watching Alpine this year. And Ocon, qualified 8th and then finished 7th. I can't remember anything really of note. Really, Ocon, he was kind of just tipping away there in the midfield.
It wasn't like Jeddah where you had the two Alpines trading places for lap after lap. Unfortunately, it was
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a little bit more.
It's exciting watching Alpine this year. Like, it's great. Potentially, could you see Alpine even leapfrogging Mercedes and taking that 3rd spot? Is that a bit of a stretch?
No, I think that'd be too much of a stretch. I think Mercedes just have that capability of developing their way out of this hole that they're in, and when they do, they will unlock much more potential in their car than I think Alpine can unlock in their car. So I think, there's no chance. It will definitely be Mercedes as the 3rd favorite team until they fix these issues, and then it'll be see what the lay of the land is at that stage on how well their improvements stack up against Ferrari and Red Bull.
Yeah. And you touched on Williams and Albon there. We'll jump onto them. The after qualifying, they must have felt like just packing up and heading home. That was an atrocious qualifying for them. But all in all, they, as you said, they played the long game with Alex, and they got a P10. They brought him in, lap 57 of 58?
Last lap, wasn't it? They brought him in.
Unbelievable. Great tactic. I don't understand why more people don't do that.
It was, they had nothing else to lose. Like, I'll be honest, I actually thought they were, I mean, it would have been ridiculous, but I was like, are they actually even going to pit him? Are they going to try and get him to the end of the race and then try and cite some bizarre regulation or something that they were, some safety regulation why they couldn't come into the pits or something like that. But yeah, I don't think, like, they got P16 in the qualifying. The issue then, I think he should have got into Q2. Then he had obviously ran out of fuel. Well, he couldn't supply a 1 liter fuel sample, and he also had 3 grid place penalty that rolled over from Jeddah from torpedoing the side of Lance Stroll and a Williams again, two race weekends in a row. So he started from 20th, and I mean, to get a 10th place finish and a point, like, I would be, well, they were over the moon, like, and I rightly so. I think it was absolutely phenomenal. And I know Leclerc got driver of the day, but to be honest, I would have given it to Albon.
Yeah,
I was like, the guy has just gone a whole race on those hard compound tires, just did his work as he needed to do it, just tipped away, just a couple of battles there with Daniel Ricciardo and he came and Stroll, I think it was, when Daniel Ricciardo came out of the pits and stuff like that. There was a few little sort of feisty battles going on throughout the race, but largely just head down, did what he needed to do, prayed for a safety car kind of closer to the end of the race that might allow them to do a sneaky pit stop, get soft tires on and retain track position. But that wasn't to be. And I'll be honest, when he came in for the pits, I was like, he's going to be down in 11th or 12th. And I was trying to do the math. I was watching the thing. I was like, I think it was like, was it 19 seconds or something like that was a pit stop? I can't quite remember. And so I was like, yeah, surely he's going to be down in 10th or 11th. And then 11th or 12th. And then, the race director cut away to Charles Leclerc going over the finish line, and of course Perez and Russell and all that kind of song and dance. And I was like, we know that's what the finish line was going to be. Where's show me Albon?
Yeah.
And then it just came up on the timing screen that he was in 10th. I was like, fucking brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, great for them. And he's someone that you have been saying since the start of the season. He wasn't in your predictions for this week, but you said I think in the
My
first
overachiever.
race, that he was going to do well, and he's done it. He's a great driver, in fairness, I don't think I was giving him the credit that he deserved, really. So yeah, fantastic weekend for them. And we go on. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, doesn't it highlight the issue then between him and Latifi?
That Latifi is pants.
Exactly. Like, I mean, look, let's be real here. Latifi's better than I would be in a Formula. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah. No, well, look, realistically, like I'm saying this, and he's obviously, he's clearly, he's of the caliber that he's worked his way into the position to be in a Formula One car.
Yeah, he's decent.
Yeah, but I mean, the start, like even last season, Russell like bossed him around the place in that garage.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He didn't stand a chance of stacking up against George Russell last season, and now this season it looks like you've got Albon who's coming back from his holidays, and Latifi's fresh on the grid. Like he should be well capable now in the second year of sorry, not the second year, well capable into this season to be putting it up there with Albon, and he just, there's just nothing there other than a train wreck. He's worse than a Mazepin, if you ask me.
Bold call.
I mean, how can you just like the amount of damage he's caused to the Williams cars?
I know, yeah. He's going to put that team out of business.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I was about to say we can't move on without mentioning that the qualifying crash, and the two of them, I swear to God, they looked like two lads trying to get out of a little car park as opposed to the Australian Grand Prix. It was horrendous. Who do you think was more at fault there? Do you think Latifi or was it both of them?
Both of them. I have really strong opinions about this because, so I think, as far as I know, they were both leading up to a quick lap. I think they were both basically driving slow around the track. Like Stroll wasn't on a quick lap or anything like that. Now, Latifi thought he was, I think, so pulled over. Okay, and Stroll went past at the corner. Latifi comes back onto the circuit, and for some reason he just instantly went, "Oh, Stroll's not on a quick lap, so I'm going to blast past him." Now you're kind of like, you're not on a quick lap either. Like, you're why did you have to make that move to start with, right? So you've just let him by. Now you want to overtake him again. I get it. Maybe track position, whatever. Doesn't matter. My point is, though, that Stroll then, in his mind, he's gone past Latifi. So he's not really looking for Latifi. In his mind, he's like, Latifi has just let me go. The last thing he's expecting is Latifi to be overtaking him again. So he's looking in his left wing mirror, as you could see, and he's looking at the Alfa Romeo coming up. I don't know who it was, whether it was... I
think it was Joe.
It was Joe, was it? Yeah. So he's looking at Joe coming up on his left side. So he's pulling in on the right to allow Joe to go past. And he's not looking in his right wing mirror because he's thinking, Latifi's just let me go. Like, why would he be down? And I suppose the argument is, look, you're a professional race car driver. You look in your wing mirrors on both sides when you're making a maneuver like that. Yeah. And he should have. So that's what I'm saying. They both have blame here. But I do think Latifi instigated it by deciding to gun it up the inside of Stroll. Like, so I was like, it was just poor decision making from Latifi and poor judgment from Stroll not checking his mirrors. He should have done it, but I can understand why he didn't check his right mirror because, like I said,
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, in that split second, the last thing you're expecting, his logic was, I've just been let by Latifi. That's the last person that's going to be down my inside. So
what was the racing line there? Out on the left hand side or the right hand side?
On the left side.
Left side was the racing.
So he was moving.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was. Stroll was moving off the left, off the racing line, and Latifi decided, not only am I going to overtake off the racing line, but as far over off the racing line as possible, rather than just kind of going, okay, slow up. Look, I'm just ranting here. Actually, I'm not making much sense because I'm ranting, but I'm just. Look, maybe let me calm down here a second. Let's bring this back to a counselor mode. I think I need a counselor.
Yeah,
we need a therapy session. I think my issue is with Latifi. let's peel the onion here. I think this is where we're going with this. Okay. Let's wrap it up. They were both to blame, but I blame Latifi.
Okay. I do as a neutral, I do like having Latifi around because he provides some wonderful moments, safety cars galore. it makes certain races interesting. You know, those races that are just kind of ticking by,
Mm.
and you just know that you have this Latifi wild card in your back pocket. It's going to happen at some stage.
Oh yeah.
The JCB is coming out. They already have it. They've already started the JCB. The keys are in it. It's running.
They
They're
painted
just waiting.
it blue.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. So, and
Sorry, and on that side,
yeah,
Stroll shouldn't be there either.
yeah.
Stroll is only there because his dad owns the team. I'm convinced of it. You cannot tell me there was not better drivers in Formula 2 coming up that shouldn't have been sitting in that seat.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You just have to look at who's the reserve drivers that are there at the moment, ready to go.
Yeah.
There's some brilliant ones there waiting, and those two lads are sitting there doing nothing. Particularly Stroll. And then talking about Stroll and Aston Martin. Oh, shocker!
Wow.
Absolute shocker of a weekend. Seb Vettel. I think the best. He's come up with some great meme moments though. The scooter. In what was it, FP1 or 2?
FP1, I think he had that accident and then decided to take to the track on a scooter.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But he has been fined €5,000 for the pleasure of a little skirt around Albert Park on a scooter.
And it was something to do because the regulations are that you can't be on the track sort of like 15 minutes or something like that after the session ends or something. I briefly read something about that, and that's why he got the €5,000 fine.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't actually specifically just for taking the scooter around the place.
No. Yeah. Now it would have been hilarious if he took the scooter out, like literally had the accident, hopped on a scooter, and just decided to go back on a live track, like it
was lovely. But
I mean,
go on. Yeah.
No. Work away.
Yeah. It seemed as if he didn't have. It's understandable. He's been away now since the start of the season. This is his first real chance to get in the car, driving it. He doesn't seem to have control of the car. He's not used to it yet. It's doing things that he's not expecting it to do.
Yeah, and he was saying there that he owned up that he sort of had to calm down a little bit because he was expecting more from the car, from the season. And he was going into things a little over eager, which I think it was in relation to his accident or multiple accidents. So what I did is, I've actually written down Aston Martin's because there was so many bullet points here. So let's go through it. So we had the FP1 crash for Vettel. He misses FP2. He gets the €5,000 fine for driving on a scooter, and we get those wonderful images and apparently T-shirts being sold now with Seb Vettel. We then Stroll and Vettel both crashed then in FP3. We then Stroll out in quali and then crashes into Latifi, which we've just covered in our therapy session.
Don't say Latifi.
Yeah, and then Stroll gets a 3-place grid penalty then for Sunday as a result of that. Then Stroll crashed. Yeah, so he gives the mechanics then time. So they're repairing Stroll's crash then from qualifying, gives them time to repair Vettel's car then to get him out for quali. Doesn't have an amazing qualifying, comes P17. Then Vettel crashes out in lap 25, riding the curbs. Then Stroll picks up a 5-second penalty for weaving and 1 penalty point on his license. Then all the drivers, well, not all the drivers, but then a lot of the drivers start making fun of the safety car, the Aston Martin safety car, for driving too slow. And on top of all that, the team have no points, and Seb Vettel sits 21st in a driver's table of when there's only 20 drivers out on the track.
Oh, wow.
What a disaster.
Can I tell you the exact moment that this started?
Go on.
This started at the unveiling when Lawrence Stroll came out and read the auto cue in the most unremarkable, what was meant to be a rousing speech about what they were going to do this season. It was atrocious, and ever since then, I've just known things are just going to be crap.
Oh, sorry, the Lawrence Stroll drivel.
Yes,
the drivel auto prompt.
Atrocious. That one will go down in history as one of the worst auto cue reads ever.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, just feel it's just led on into this season, hasn't it? It's just yeah.
I can't understand where Vettel's enthusiasm has come from, because it definitely wasn't there.
I'll be honest. If Haas came. If I was in that Aston Martin at the moment, and Haas said, "You know what? Look, K Mag's only here for one season. Jump in there with Mick Schumacher as your number 2."
Yes, sir.
I'd say Vettel's like, "All right, see you, Aston. I'm off to Haas. Good luck.
Yeah.
Keep your foot."
And by the way, I've got COVID for the rest of this season, so
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Hulkenberg's back. But yeah, I don't even think he'd take it, to be honest.
No, no, he would. Look, he would. Anyone would take a seat in Formula One, but I mean, look, I don't know. It was just bad luck. I think it's just a bad luck weekend. Look, the car's not great either, but this weekend was particularly, they hit every branch of the tree on the way down as they fell out of it.
Absolutely shocking.
Now, on to big business. We're on to
God.
Imola and the predictions.
Right. We're going to predict. Well, can I start off by saying anything that I have predicted so far has gone the exact opposite. So if there's anyone that's out there that is betting and listening to this podcast and betting, pick whatever I don't, because it's going to go that way.
When the fun stops, stop.
Okay. So just a reminder, we've had 2 races. We're 1-1 after Jeddah, coming into Australia. So this is to take the lead now. Yeah,
and the top 3, let's be clear as well on this. It doesn't mean that you can have, you have to have the position correct. So you can't just have this is what I have as 1, 2, and 3. But if that 1, 2, and 3 comes in a reverse order, then that doesn't count just because you've managed to get one in the right.
Okay.
Okay. It has to be the position.
Okay, yeah, because I can't really remember what terms we set last week. So
I don't think we set any, really, in fairness. I think we're making it up each week, or I'm making it up each week. Whatever favors me the best.
Perfect. Okay, so we take a look at your predictions for Australia and how they panned out. You want to give me your top 3 that you predicted?
All right, I had Leclerc, so we know how that panned out. Absolutely stellar.
Good shout.
I had Verstappen, which would have been a stellar outcome, except for I don't know, Bandy Gromit. And then Sainz. Well, that was I may as well have had Vettel.
Nil Bois.
Yeah. Well, I have the one. I've won 1 point still anyway from Leclerc. So
sorry, I meant just for Sainz. Yeah, Leclerc point.
So call it out, Scotty. What did we go with for your top 3?
Okay, so I said Verstappen. Was this the race where I said Verstappen will take pole position in qualifying and then also the race, or was that last week? Oh no, that was the week before. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I was getting excited there. So I said Verstappen win, which was obviously Nil Poit. I said Leclerc in P2, which was not true. He came P1, and I said Perez P3, which was also not true because he became P2.
See, now I do feel a bit guilty about just making up that rule, because this drastically favors me now, because I got 1 point, you've got 0.
Yeah, interesting how that rule just came in there now. But yeah, no, that's it's fair. It's fair. We can have that going forward. So you're up by 1 point now. So your flop of the week was Alonso. Sorry, I just jumped in and just said it for you.
Yeah, sorry. You just take take my glory. All right, my flop, Alonso.
Yeah,
that was, I got lucky on that one.
You did, yeah. You got very lucky.
But who did you go with?
I said my flop was going to be Lando Norris.
Which, I'll be honest, I thought that would have been a given.
Yeah. No.
But so that's 1-0, and then my surprise was Daniel Ricciardo, which I'm going to say that was a surprise. Like, I mean,
it was.
What did they get? Fucking 5th and 6th, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, that's fair. I said my surprise was going to be Valtteri Bottas. He's in the top 10, and he had a DNF the week before.
Yeah, look, if he's inside the top 10, you give argument for the surprise. So that's
I'll take it.
Yeah, you can take it.
So all in all, you got 3 points, and I got 1.
So I'm up 2-1 now on the taking the lead.
Huge cheering.
Oh yeah.
So you're up 2-1 overall. You're up 2-1. Okay. So will we have a look at this week's predictions for Imola?
All right. Who do you want me? No, you call yours out. I called mine out first last week.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And hands in the air. I'm not. I'm neither playing with myself or changing my predictions.
I can see the hands. I can confirm you're not playing with yourself. Okay.
Yeah, but I am changing my predictions
as we go.
Yeah,
I want to see those hands.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
There we go.
So here's my top three. Don't know if I'm going to explain it because I can't remember why I wrote these this way. But anyway, I'm going to say Leclerc P1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Verstappen P2. And I'm going to say Sainz P3.
Scotty. No, wait, hang on. What you? So you've gone Leclerc, Verstappen and Sainz.
Yeah. So I'm going to write that in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my choice. I think Leclerc is just unstoppable at the moment. He has Verstappen's that's his lecture. He has Verstappen's number, I think, at the moment. I think they're
Leclerc.
going to.
It's not a chocolate Eclair.
Sorry, Verstappen. Leave it. I want it spelled that way. Leclerc, Verstappen. That was an autocorrect. I just made that. Sainz then in P3. I think Verstappen's issues will magically disappear next week and then reappear the week after. So I think he'll be fine for next week. I think Leclerc still has his number, and I think Sainz. I've just got a feeling that he's going to sort his stuff out for next week, or for 2 weeks' time. Sorry.
All right. Well, I agree with you on that, and I'll show you how much I agree with you on that because I'll send you. So, my top three, I'm going with Sainz P1.
Ooh. Wow.
And the reason I'm going for that, I have to try and back this up with some sort of justification.
Okay.
I think he had the pace, like in the qualifying and stuff like that. I think he had the pace to challenge up there with Leclerc. I just think with all the shit luck he got over eager, over aggressive, and it all fell asunder. Mm-hmm. So I think if he doesn't get that bad luck and he does get a clean race, I think he's going to be even more hungry. And there's been a lot of conversation around the P1, or sorry, the driver 1 and driver 2 in Ferrari, from sort of, TV networks and stuff like that. The likes of Martin Brundle talking about it on Sky F1. Like that must filter back. Not saying that he's watching Sky F1, but I mean that news must circulate and filter around the camp. So he must know, and he probably had that in his head anyway. He must know that he's got a challenge on his hand. So I think this is where he's going to put his marker down, and he's going to absolutely go balls in on this one.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
So
okay.
Sainz in P1, Leclerc P2.
Right.
It's going to be a tight battle, but those two are going to get 1 and 2. And then I'm going to put Verstappen third. And I'm just wondering, I don't know how close that's going to be, though. I don't know whether it's going to be a close battle till the end, sort of like a couple of seconds between all three, covering the top three, or whether it's going to be a case where Red Bull have poor tire management again and end up dropping 15 seconds back or something to that effect. So yeah. I'm going to go with Verstappen P3.
You don't think that possibly, again, all this pressure is going to mount on Sainz and he's going to lose it?
No, he's gonna have his dad in his ear as well. His dad's in his camp there, Carlos Sainz Senior, like world rally champion. Like he knows it. It's like Jos there, of being a sounding board for Max. I think Carlos Senior will help keep him calm, keep him, help him kind of realize what the objective is here and what he needs to do and how to do it. I think he's going to be grand. He's going to do it. P1.
Okay. We shall see. We shall see. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll give you my flop of the week.
Yeah.
I've gone pretty safe with both of my predictions for flop and surprise this week. My safe prediction, because I want points and I want to bring it back even next week, is Lando Norris flop.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Do you want me to give you my surprise as well, or will we wait?
No, I'll give you my flop then. Daniel Ricciardo.
Okay. Poor old McLaren.
Yeah, we don't have much faith in them for Imola, do we?
God help the boys. The tractor's back out in
Yeah.
force.
Plowing
Okay.
turn 1.
Yeah, no, that's pretty evident why we picked those. Okay, and then my surprise again, I've gone safe. Fernando Alonso.
Ah, fuck yeah, I've gone for Alonso as well.
Easy points. It really
Now,
is easy
all right,
points.
okay, let's go for to not go with a draw. All
Okay.
right. So let's let me highlight the little box here beside Alonso on my column. You highlight Owen on there, and at the same time, now to take 5 seconds to think about it now. Think of the position where Alonso is going to finish inside the top 10.
Okay.
And whoever gets closest to the position, then if it's tie break, if Alonso does well, it's whoever gets closer to that position.
Okay. All right. Is there going to be a countdown for this?
Yeah, we'll just do on 3. This is going to be like Lethal Weapon. Do we go on 3 or is it 1, 2, 3 and then go?
Okay.
On 3. So 1, 2, 3. And as I'm saying 3, we're hitting the button, right?
Okay.
Ready?
You ready? Okay.
1, 2, 3. You fucking do you know how to press a button?
It's in there. Mine's in there.
It is.
It is. It's sitting in there. I can see mine. Oh, maybe. Oh, it just didn't update. Okay.
Oh, yeah. How convenient. It's definitely there. I can see it.
I swear to God, I pressed it at the same time you did. So you said P7. I say P5.
Well, I still don't see yours. So.
Oh, why isn't it showing up?
I know.
Maybe I take that.
Oh, now
yeah.
you moved it away. Oh, yeah.
Okay, you have to take it off the thing. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
There's going to be a video podcast soon, so people are going to see the dodgy tricks you're up to.
So P7, P5.
I went safe. I mean, P5, like he's got you've got 2 Red Bulls, 2 Ferraris, 2 Mercedes there. I know I said he should have been battling with the Mercedes in Melbourne, but yeah, look, I went safe. You went all in.
I'm just excited by Alonso. I'm just really excited to see what comes next for him. So yeah, P5. Okay, cool. That works. Yeah, that's a good little system there. I like that.
That's it. So so that's it for this week's episode. We have a little break now until Imola. So next week we'll be rounding up the latest goings on in the world of F1 in our series, The Pit Crew, which we've named it. As always, if you want to get in touch with your own questions, comments, or corrections, send them on to feedback@latenightRaceReview.com. Until next week.